So I am finding the whole Baby Goth industry plant thing absolutely fascinating at the moment. Just a few weeks ago, I was talking to a friend on Facebook about mumble rap and how there is a total gap in the market for a female mumble rapper to come along who has a low, husky, kind of chilled out voice, and how actually that would sound really good. Why isn't there one? Lo and behold, along comes Baby Goth. It was so obvious that the industry was going to manufacture a pop star to fill this niche. Because at this point, mumble rap and SoundCloud rap, it has become such big business that it isn't going to be about little kids in bedrooms doing their own thing, being genuine anymore. It is reaching lucrative levels where they are going to be buying in pop stars to fill the spaces perfectly, and obviously Bria Bueno, Baby Goth, came along and did that. And I watched Progress's video about the whole industry plant thing with interest, but the thing I found kind of annoying that he didn't touch on was her previous music. He mentioned her previous music, but he didn't actually say what it sounded like. Because the thing that hit me, the first song I heard by her, it popped up on my Instagram suggestions, which just shows how heavily she is being pushed by the industry. The fact that she popped up on my YouTube suggestions when, you know, everything is not being suggested these days. You have to pay so much money to YouTube to get your stuff out there this widely. Yeah, there's a lot of industry force behind it. But anyway, the first song I heard by her was Mary. And the level of her mumbling on that song is like a next level mumble. You know, the mumble rappers I've heard before, like generally they just kind of sound kind of like stoned. It's more of like a rasping, kind of low, slurring, like legitimately stoned sounding mumble. Whereas her mumble on Mary, I tried singing along and imitating it, and it is really hard to under-enunciate to that degree. Like, Mary drives a new record, and she was the best in accent you can imagine. So rich like I am the treasure. You literally have to paralyze your tongue to even get close to the level of mumbling on that song. And then I heard the song Swimming, and when she starts rapping, the mumble disappears and it becomes this over-enunciated, very deliberately black, kind of almost black Latina sounding thing, particularly the line about, sorry, I've really been analysing this, but the line about Gucci Prada, living life the way we fucking wanna, is almost like a D'Antwoord sounding accent she's going for in that bit, although there is so much auto-tune on those lines that actually the intonation is completely altered, and how much of that she's doing and how much the auto-tune is doing, it's hard to say. But anyway, I was fascinated, like, there is no way that living life the way we fucking wanna, that is not any born American's given accent. But I wanted to know, okay, she's got old music out there. Was any of this the way she sang before? Is it like an adopted thing that she's done for years, or is it literally brand new? Of course it's brand new. I will link to her old stuff below. What I will say, I can see why they chose her to be this industry plant, this manufactured pop star. I can see why they chose her, because her pre-existing vocals, she does have this really nice kind of low, husky, kind of chilled out voice. She does have a slight kind of overly slurred S sound. Naturally, there is something a little bit kind of fat-lipped and kind of about the way she sings. She does not mumble. She enunciates perfectly in her old stuff. They have literally given her elocution lessons that are reverse elocution. Right, we want you to speak. Right, this is your elocution lesson. Mary dropped a new record and she was the best snowflake. It works then, right? I swear to God, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall when they were teaching her to mumble. She does not really rap in her old stuff. There are some slightly rappy bits, but it's more like Lana Del Rey type rap, as in it's kind of hip-hop rhythm singing. She does have quite a monotonal singing style, which seems to be possibly because she doesn't have much of a vocal range. You can hear it in the Do Re Mi song, which I actually really like. That's one of the reasons I actually want to make this video, is that I kind of like her music as Baby Goth, actually, much as I... The fakeness and the simplicity of the lyrics and all of that kind of bugs me a little bit. It's really listenable. So I do need to state that. But yeah, in the Do Re Mi song, right at the end, she actually goes up only about half an octave, and her voice is to the point of cracking. It sounds so high. She has no vocal range, and I say that as someone who has no vocal range myself, but her vocal range is so tiny, it's incredible. But that works for her because it means she sticks, rather than like, say, Lana Del Rey, you know, swinging between these kind of different voices she can put on. Because if you do have a low vocal tone, if you do have a kind of contralto voice, you do have these multiple voices that your low range sounds very low, but the minute you go up a bit, it sounds like a different person. It sounds very high and very sweet. That is like a given characteristic of an average contralto voice. But because she has this limited vocal range and she stays in the very kind of low husky part, because that's all there is, it does make her perfect for this. It does make her perfect. But the really notable thing, and this is the thing that is probably going to get under the skin of people who are hardcore into rap, is that I don't really get any kind of rap spirit from her previous Bria Bueno music. When you look at the lyrical content, this is the most surprising bit, is the lyrical content, that it's not very self-referential the way that most rappers, and certainly all the rap she's done as Baby Goth, and particularly the stuff that's on the stuff that's turning into an album, the stuff that doesn't have videos yet, most specifically Gleamy. Gleamy's the one that everyone's losing their shit over. That's the one that's like setting her up to be a legit mumble rapper. Gleamy, and also Smooth, I think it's called. Those two are very, very rap by numbers, simplistic, self-referential. I got this, I got ices on my wrists, I got gleamy teeth. They call me goth bitch, kind of thick. I'm kind of crazy. This is who I am. This is what I got. And it's all of this kind of rap bragging stuff. That is fucking night and day compared to the lyrical content of her old stuff. Her old stuff is actually kind of intelligent sounding lyrical wise. It's lyrical, it's poetical, it's not repetitive as hell like her Baby Goth stuff. It does have lyrical content, and when she refers to herself, it's in a very different way. There's a lot of baby references. You can see why they called her Baby Goth, because she's got a song called Babyface, and that's about the one time she says they call me. In her old stuff is they call me Babyface, but there's a lot of baby references. There's Babyface, there's Pacify Me, there's Spilled Milk, there's the album art itself. She's wearing white, she's wearing this like roughly white babyish looking thing, and the picture you get of her self-image from her old lyrics is a very shy kind of person. It's very, you know, people who are fixated on babyish fashions, and even the way she sings is quite kind of babyish sounding. People like that, generally speaking, it is a sign of being quite a quiet, shy sort of person. So Gleamy, particularly as a song under her Baby Goth name, I really don't believe she wrote the lyrics to that song. And if she did, she definitely had a producer hanging over her head saying, stay on brand, this is who you are now, stay on brand. Because to go from, they call me Babyface, I'm kind of shy, here's me in my white ruffles, to go from that to, they call me goth bitch, kind of thick, when I walk in the room you notice me, and all of this. And the thing is, you can see it too if you've seen the videos, the behind the scenes movie shoot with her and Lil Xan and Trippy. She doesn't say a word the whole time. She's lurking in the background, smoking blunt after blunt to have something to hide behind. She doesn't speak once. When the producers say, get up and dance, do your thing for the video, she's like, you know, she turns it on. She doesn't say a word the whole time. And then, of course, there's the disastrous interview. This interview is set up at the beginning by the guy saying, look, okay, so you're blowing up big and, you know, but people have been kind of talking shit about you. And I don't think he actually says it specifically, but he's clearly alluding to the people think you're an industry plant thing. He then sets it up as kind of, So you're here to kind of set them straight, you know, set the record straight, say your piece. She could not have fucked it up harder if she'd tried. You know, she's sort of very, very whispering. You can barely hear a word she's saying, actually, because she's kind of whispering in the microphone. It's obvious she's been told what to say by the producers. This whole, yeah, I was kind of like a hardcore kid, I was a mosher, all these things that are kind of like base blocks of the mumble rap scene, you know, being into the kind of emo, the kind of MySpace scene beforehand and all of that. That's what they've tried to make her out to be, but she didn't seem to be able to name any bands or anything. She didn't sell it very well, and the thing is, she could have swung it in a number of ways. If it had have been me in that interview, the best way to tell a convincing lie is to sprinkle it with the truth. So I would have said, yeah, you know, all the evidence that was uncovered is true. I was a struggling musician. My music did sound different beforehand. Yes, the industry did reach out to me and they said, we will set you up with these big rappers. We think you've got potential to be a rapper. And I realised that my music could be altered. So yeah, I've changed my style and things. But actually, I really like how I look now. I'm really proud of the music we're making. And sometimes you do have to be told by outside influences that your stuff can be improved, and all I have done is improve myself. I have not sold out, I haven't changed myself, I have improved myself, I've grown as a person. There's your bullshit. That's all she needed to say was that, really. Or she could have gone another way with the bullshit and said, yeah, I've always been into this, but I'm quite a shy person, and what I put across in my music, this whole Baby Goth persona, it's who I want to be. I want to be the goth bitch who walks in the room and everyone notices her, but actually I'm kind of shy, and it took the industry reaching out to me, and it took Lil Xan and Trippy helping me along to get to where I am, just because I'm kind of a shy, anxious person. That would have been good bullshit too, because, you know, that's another huge part of the mumble rap scene, is anxiety, is teenage angst. She could have cashed in on that. She didn't. So girl, if you want to reach out and I'll be your PR team, I can do the bullshit for you. But no, so you can tell from the interview, from the background scenes on the thing, that this character she's putting across with these very self-referential, oh, look at my eyes, and the song's smooth as well. At some point she says something about everybody calls me crazy. Oh my god, honey, they don't. You're the little quiet little shy violet in the corner. You're not this tits thrusting in the camera big person thing, and that's fine. Be who you are. So it is interesting that she has jumped through so many hoops to do this, you know, with the face tats, with having her teeth fucked up, with having her half her head shaved off, with, in that video with Lil Xan and Trippy, you can tell how uncomfortable she is, that she knows she has nothing in common with these people and the way they talk, and everything she seems very out of place. She's willing to do all these things, but someone needs to give her acting lessons. It will be interesting to see what direction she goes in with this. That does she absolutely throw herself into becoming a fake persona, which is quite difficult when you've got a husband and one, if not two, kids. Also, her age is false. I found this out. I just did a quick Google on her age because I thought, I don't know that, I should know that. If you look on famous birthdays, if you Google Baby Goth and look on famous birthdays, it says she is 20 years old. Her birthday is on the 28th of February, so she's about to be 21. She's very, very young indeed. However, if you Google Bria Bueno birthday, you get her Model Mayhem profile, which she created when she was 20, or last updated when she was 20, and living in Colorado. And according to this, she is actually 23 years old, which makes perfect sense. I mean, I thought she was more like 23, 24, 25, considering the kids, you know. So she is, or someone is trying to sell her as being younger than she is to get down with the kids. But no, and it is going to be hard for her to force this persona full time when she's got to go home and be someone's mum and be someone's wife, and they know who she is as a real person. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that will keep her grounded in this kind of crazy world, because if you are going to put on a false persona 24/7, you're going to go insane eventually. It's a given. But it may be that she's playing this quite cleverly, and she's got this platform now. She's been absolutely catapulted into the stratosphere. And eventually she may be able to start doing what she actually wants to do musically, and won't have to rely on this stuff. Or maybe, you know, because the thing is, actually, as I say, I do like the Baby Goth music. I kind of do. It needs more depth, for sure. It is definitely rap by numbers. It is very, very empty, and that's the disappointing thing about it. The one disappointing thing about the Baby Goth music is that it doesn't tap into the actually interesting elements of the kind of Xanax rap, mumble rap, that kind of scene, with the lyrics about insecurity and the lyrics about teenage angst and struggling with drugs. And the stuff that has actually made the bigger stars are the ones who have depth and who have some level of eloquence. The ones who just do rap by numbers don't get so far. But, you know, she's a female with this amazing husky voice that sounds so different, so mellow. So right now, I guess she doesn't need to have depth in order to get somewhere. But anyway, the final thing I want to say, really, before ending this video with it sounding quite dissy, is the fact that this is not anything new. It is not anything new for an artist to change dramatically over the course of their career. Katy Perry is the most obvious example. She used to be an earnest, little, dark-haired, acoustic guitar playing musician with no crazy outfits, no gimmicks, none of that shit. She was like an actual musician, you know, and now obviously she's like this pop bubble thing with these crazy fucking stage shows that are like a fucking carnival. You know, so there's that. Other bands, I mean, if you followed any musician who's had a reasonably long career, you will find that they have had side projects that sound nothing like their main project. One obvious example is Typo Negative. Pete Steele's vocal style, you know, his very kind of bassy, gothy with a kind of rolled R's all the time. And all of this very kind of atmospheric, sort of vampiric style. He had side projects where he didn't do any of that and just sounded like a generic metal singer. There have been lots of examples. Steven Tyler of Aerosmith, when he started, he did not have that distinctive, like, amazing vocal style. But he kind of grew into it naturally. It wasn't, you know, just like, here we go, this is who you are now. But it does happen, and actually I kind of think it is quite a mature thing for her to have done this. You know, I know a lot of people are going to be thinking, oh my god, that is so shallow, that is so immature and so shallow and so stupid, to sell out all your principles, to take who you are as a person, just throw it in the bin and be someone else and come out with music that isn't you at all. I actually think it is a very mature, very realistic move, actually, for someone of her age, you know, assuming she isn't even older than 23, which she could be, to have realised at her age that, you know what, I'm a musician, I want to be a musician, and she's, as I say, she's tried modelling, she's tried being a promoter, she's tried being on Tumblr. Clearly being in the public eye is the main thing she wants. These are all her dreams. And she has realised that she isn't going to get there without compromising on herself and her principles and her music. She has realised that, okay, I can have everything I want, but I have to make compromises. And some of those compromises are very personal to me, like my appearance and my lyrics and my music. And most young people would not do that. Honestly, I know people seem to think that most young people would jump at the fucking chance to have all this clout and, you know, to be launched into the stratosphere. But most young people, the thing they will, number one, not do is sell out who they are. Selling out is the ultimate, like, toxic term, really, to young people. And as you get older, you realise that some level of compromise, unfortunately, is generally required in everything, in wanting to succeed in everything. You have to fucking compromise. Even if you have a creative job like YouTube or whatever, you are going to have statistics telling you, hey, guess what does well with your videos? It's not the ones you enjoy making, it's the really boring ones about makeup and things. Those are the ones you have to do to make money. Whatever career you are in, you are going to have to make compromises. And if you are a signed artist, a signed musical artist, many of the choices you're making about music aren't yours anyway. I mean, even fucking Nirvana, Nirvana, Kurt Cobain said so many times after Nevermind came out that he hated how commercial it sounded. We are never making another album like that again. That album is generally the thing people look at and say that was Nirvana's masterpiece. Kurt Cobain didn't want it to sound like that. So it is, being a signed artist is selling out whoever you are. Even like Lil Xan for quite a long time was saying, yeah, I can't get any more face tats because my management are telling me things. And, all the clips of him literally having his phone and his laptop yanked away from him by bodyguards because he was about to say too much while live streaming. Everybody in the music industry is to some extent being yanked about by puppet strings. It happens. And I'm just intrigued to see where she goes, and I kind of like some of her music. And the final thing to say, which I actually meant to say at the beginning, but I completely forgot, is, as you may have noticed by this point in the video, no, I am not here to have a gigantic tirade about the fact that, oh my god, she calls herself Baby Goth, and she's not goth, it's not goth music, what the fuck? Dude, anyone with half a brain cell can tell that this is not goth music. I don't think there is any harm in the genuine goth subculture being tarred by guns and knives and bling and materialism and everything else that this music is about. Like, literally anyone who has any concept of what goth is knows that this is not goth music. I do not think it is anything to get your panties in a twizzle about. The word goth has been misappropriated for decades by people saying, oh, this is goth fashion, metal, oh, this is totally goth, when it's not. Emo kids, scene kids, Marilyn Manson. We have dealt with all of these things being called goth, and actually the fact is that eventually, once the hubble bubble dies down, we generally realise, hey, actually, us as goths, those things might not be goth, but we kind of like them. Like Marilyn Manson, like a lot of metal, like a lot of goth fashion that comes from designers and things. And in my case, like quite a lot of kind of SoundCloud rap and Goth Boy Click and Baby Goth and all of this. It's not goth. I quite like it. I am not offended by the terminology being used. I have talked for way too long, so I'm going to shut up now. But, yeah, I do think it's interesting to see the vocal progression from her old stuff to her new stuff. I would say her new stuff under Baby Goth is a lot easier to listen to. I listened to all the Bria Bueno stuff on YouTube while I was doing my makeup, then I re-listened to all the Baby Goth stuff, and I by far fucking had a nicer time listening to the Baby Goth stuff. The Bria Bueno stuff with the kind of babyish overtones kind of grates after a while, so musically it might be artificial, it might be sudden, but I think it's an improvement if she just is allowed to put a bit of her own personality into the lyrics, to put a bit of depth into the lyrics and stop with this materialistic ices on my wrists crap. And I mean, my main fear for her is that she is going to lose her shit completely on about the 7th day in a row of having to get up and sing the song Smooth. I mean, seriously, you listen to that song, then you listen to it over and over again, and you imagine having to perform that every night. Ooh, 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 literally. When she is capable of verses, she's capable of verses, of rhyming, of many words. Ooh, 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 that's what you're allowed to say now, honey. That's the downside of all of this clap. No. In all seriousness, I'm intrigued to see where she goes, and I think her music is fucking chill and fun to listen to, and I am all about female vocalists with low, husky, sexy voices. Like, I love that shit, so that's my final thoughts. If you have more to add, please add them below. Going away now, because this is way longer than I thought it was going to be. Bye-bye!